We're taking another important step forward in the recovery and the rebuilding of our communities in the aftermath of Hurricane Sandy. From the first days of the storm, I talked about how we would need to approach these challenges in phases: preparation, response, recovery, and now rebuilding. We know, and I admit, that this will be the most lengthy and the trying phase of all the phases. It's going to be difficult, it's going to be complicated, and guaranteed it's going to be frustrating at times. But it's also the most important and critical phase for us to ensure that a rebuilt New Jersey is stronger, more enduring, and more ready for any future natural disaster challenges that confront us. Help has been there for many people. Over $500 million in disaster assistance has already gone out the door to assist impacted New Jerseyans, while 233,000 people have heeded my call to call 1-800-621-FEMA and register to get their individual assistance. But this is just the beginning of our need to provide assistance and relief for tens of thousands of people who lost their homes or remain displaced, entire communities ravaged by the storm, who confront decisions about if and how to rebuild with local economies already stretched thin. I've called this our Katrina, because the damage to New Jersey is nothing that we've ever experienced in our state's history. We saw close to 3 million customers out of power in the state. That accumulated to over 7 million people who were without power. Based on land and aerial assessments, over 30,000 businesses and homes were destroyed or experienced some form of structural damage, while 42,000 homes were impacted in some other lesser way. Over 100 miles of shoreline beaches were severely eroded, and public infrastructure in many communities were uprooted. And by public infrastructure, I mean everything from their roads to their gas lines to power lines were uprooted and permanently damaged. Our top-down assessment of overall damage and destruction due to Hurricane Sandy includes $29.4 billion for repair and response. Since that time, we have worked on our supplemental mitigation, protection, and prevention numbers, which I'm announcing today is an additional $7.4 billion, leading our cumulative total to be $36.8 billion. We will be submitting that information today to the White House, to our congressional delegation, and to our partners in New York State and Governor Cuomo's office. We're embarking on a serious and necessary path that is going to require a great deal of federal assistance, which I will personally advocate for in addition to members of our congressional delegation. But we are now counting on our congressional delegation to go down there and fight for us, and I'm confident that already they've shown the willingness to work in a bipartisan way to get this done. With the magnitude of the rebuilding process in mind, today I'm asking Mark Ferzan to take over the responsibilities of managing the Hurricane Sandy recovery and rebuilding efforts within my office. He will be responsible for directing the vital task of overseeing and coordinating my administration's long-term recovery goals and efforts in cooperation with all federal, state, local, private, and non-governmental partners. In addition, we are bringing on board James Lee Witt Associates to assist in the long-term rebuilding process. As most of you know, James Lee Witt and his team have vast experience in disaster recovery and large-scale mitigation management. Mr. Witt is a special advisor to Louisiana, assisting with the nation's longest long-term recovery in the aftermath of Hurricanes Katrina and Rita, and is the former FEMA director under President Bill Clinton. Mr. Witt will provide strategic support to the state in all facets of recovery and mitigation, resources for appropriate resolution services to assist in the state's reconstruction, and senior-level consultation in all facets of the intermediate and long-term recovery process. With Mark leading this effort and Witt and Associates providing critical assistance, my commitment to the people of New Jersey is to make steady progress in our recovery and to know that 3 or 6 or 12 months from now, I'll demand the same level of effort, attention, and results from government as I have in the last 30 days. Rebuilding our state is the most important and pressing challenge before us. I'm naming Mark to this position because of the importance and urgency of the effort and my commitment to getting it done efficiently and effectively for the people of our state. I know Mark well from our time working together. We have worked together on and off for the last 10 years. He is a smart, proven, and capable manager who will bring people and government together, build consensus, and effectively handle the many facets of the recovery effort moving forward. In this position, he will be housed here in the State House. He will be in regular and constant contact with me and our cabinet and our outside partners at every level. Mark is leaving his position as a managing director at PricewaterhouseCoopers Advisory to return to the service of our state. The former executive attorney general for the state of New Jersey, he served more than 8 years in various leadership positions with me also at the United States Attorney's Office. In addition to managing the front office of the Attorney General here in New Jersey, Mark supervised several high-profile cases, including the landmark $25 billion joint state and federal national mortgage servicing fraud settlement, New Jersey's major role in securing a $150 million national Medicaid fraud settlement with Maxim Healthcare Services, and the state's legal fight to hold those responsible for polluting the lower Passaic River. He has a reputation for bringing unbounded enthusiasm to each task he undertakes. I know he'll bring the same intense energy to the task of leading the rebuilding of New Jersey. Whenever there was a tough task to be done in the U.S. Attorney's Office when I was there, a case that other people couldn't seem to either move or get rid of, wasting investigative resources, I turned to Mark. And if there was a case there to be made, he brought it and brought it successfully. And if there was no case there and we needed to stop wasting resources on it, he had the guts to go and kill it as well. It's that type of decision-making ability that I've seen in Mark over the years we've worked together, which make me confident in asking him to undertake this responsibility. You know, we have a long way to go, but the people of New Jersey have already shown that we're ready to meet the challenge. In his new role, Mark's first task will be assembling a core team to guide this effort and to determine the different areas of focus that require long-term strategic planning. He'll be working with Witten Associates on that, and I have assured him that he will have the full run of state government to detail people from other relevant departments to be part of his team in the State House here to be able to work on this day to day. Additionally, he will begin to immediately work with all of the different partners that we have in this to bring together all the information and resources that we need since Hurricane Sandy happened to build on and effectively execute the rebuilding efforts. Critical among his duties, Mark will be responsible for collecting an inventory of all available public and private funding sources for rebuilding and examining strategies to ensure their most effective deployment and facilitating the development and the execution of plans to move forward, ensuring the work is done in a strategic, well-coordinated, and efficient manner. I'll tell you this, I know from talking to Governor Barbour, Governor Jindal, Governor Bush, that they said it was imperative to have one person inside the governor's office coordinating this effort, that when they tried it other ways, things fell through the cracks, people didn't know who to deal with, information got spread throughout government, and things weren't getting done. And that was a consistent theme from all three of them in separate conversations. So I don't need to reinvent the wheel here. I want to do this the right way. And when we came to the conclusion that we needed one person in charge, I reluctantly called Mark, who has served me so well over the years and finally left to make some money, and asked him if he'd be willing one more time for me and for the state that I know he loves to sacrifice and come on board and do this. And I'm really gratified that he is willing to do it and has come on board. The process of rebuilding and restoring these communities is not going to be easy, and it is going to continue to be the top priority of this administration. So I want to thank Mark for stepping up to ensure that, you know, the case of rebuilding our state moves forward, and his return to service, I think, is just another indication of what the people of New Jersey are willing to do to respond to this storm and to rebuild our state. So I want to introduce Mark for some remarks, and I'll come back to take questions. Mark, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. First, I want to thank Governor Christie for putting his trust and confidence in me as the people of New Jersey are facing unprecedented challenges in the aftermath of the storm. I am truly humbled and honored to take on this role. New Jersey is my home. It's where I grew up. My family is here. My friends are here. And the destruction, I recognize, has and will continue to touch all of us in the weeks and months and years to come. As the governor touched on, entire communities were washed away. People were displaced from their homes and lost their belongings. Schools were damaged. Businesses were shut down. And utility and transportation infrastructure was compromised. It's a critical moment for the state now as we move forward to address the immediate needs of individuals and communities, but also look towards the future to rebuild and revitalize. To achieve success, we'll need to work as a team, a model that has served us very well through the storm and to this point. And it'll mean continuing to join together, as the governor said at the outset, with federal, state, and local government leaders, dedicated public servants, private industry, charitable, volunteer, and community organizations, and individuals from the impacted communities themselves. Many have already responded in admirable and heartening ways, from neighbors inviting people over for meals, to the large-scale efforts of the FEMA Joint Field Office in Lincroft, New Jersey, which has been a beacon for bringing federal, state, and private resources together to help tens of thousands of people in this state already. Looking to the vast work ahead, I'm encouraged by the outpouring of support at all levels. I look forward to building upon the hard work of those who have already committed themselves to the mission. As I assemble my core team, I expect to get to work immediately with Governor Christie's cabinet, state personnel, and other key stakeholders to gather information so that we can do what needs to be done. As the governor touched on, I need to fully understand the breadth and scope of the damages around the state, examine all available public and private funding sources, look at federal and state legislative initiatives that make sense, and facilitate the development of proposed plans so that we can move forward. Among other things, these plans will consider mitigation strategies, so where possible, we can rebuild in ways that are more resistant to future weather events. Those affected by the storm, no doubt, have a number of questions on their minds now. What's being done by their leaders? How will we know, when progress is going to be made? How will we be kept informed? As I get up to speed, I'll be coordinating with the governor and his leadership team regularly so that decision-making will be effective and efficient, and so that priorities can be established and progress can be accelerated. Keeping the public informed on developments and providing realistic timetables will be a central part of our mission. Understanding the importance of the challenges we're facing, I'm going to roll up my sleeves from now and work every day with the governor and public, nonprofit, and private sector resources to rebuild a better and stronger New Jersey. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Governor.
Appreciate that.